As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to the Crunch Time Sports Show with Jeff Iafrate and Booner. It's Thursday, January 8th. It is the day of Brad Holmes and his press conference. Some calling it Judgment Day.
Who's called it Judgment Day? Wow.
I've seen some Judgment Day for Brad Holmes.
Judgment Day is crazy.
So we'll talk about that press conference today. We're going to spend, we'll just tell you right now, about 70 to 80% of the show is going to be Brad Holmes. I mean, it's going to be a large portion of the show. We'll get to the offensive coordinator stuff later. Mike McDaniel, potentially, the Lions have interest in him. We'll talk about all that. But Brad Holmes is going to be the focus of today. He said a lot of things today. He had a 40-minute press conference. I went live for it, and I didn't really talk about it. I just kind of live reacted to it, so people were just pissed off in the chat. But today, me and Booner are going to be able to get our thoughts out finally and officially. I was anticipating this thing since the trade deadline.
I think since the start of the season. We've all been like, when are we going to hear Brad talk again after the last time we heard about him at training camp? Everyone's like, when's Brad coming back?
Yeah, when is he back? And he didn't make a move at the deadline, did not speak then. And today he addressed a lot of that. He talked about David Montgomery, talked about the trade deadline, the offensive line, Frank Ragnow, the offseason, the failed season, kind of brought up the edge position, projects. I'll say this before we start. I thought the media today did an excellent job. I thought the questions, we spoke about it the last couple of days, about what we wanted to hear asked. I thought they hit everything. The one thing we talked about is the Jared Goff restructuring thing. I don't think he was
to hear that.
I don't think I'd be curious what he thinks about that, but I thought they nailed the main topics of what fans were wondering. So I think the questions were all on point. The doc, shout out to the doc. He came in with a heater right away. I think more so the big storyline from the press conference has to do with Brad's response to those said questions.
I did actually. I spoke with Doc a little bit, and actually I just thought of this, Jeff, because you bringing up, thought the media did a good job. There was one thing that I was a little, and I told the Doc this, and he was like, yeah, and I told him, I said, hey, I think a lot of people would be happy with you if you bring this up for the next press conference when Brad talks, whether it's the owners meeting, I think it's the combine actually will be next, end of February. But the one thing with, I told Doc that he should ask next is, hey, Brad, Brad did avoid a lot of questions today, and he was asked a lot about his approach. He was asked a lot about being aggressive. The doc asked about him being aggressive. I think Wojo asked something similar as well. It felt like that it got asked a few times. And the one thing that I told Doc, I said, hey, I would have loved if someone followed that up with, Brad, you've been asked a million times about being aggressive. You've said you've had all these different chances to be aggressive, and you hey, I know you guys don't see it, but behind the scenes, we're aggressive in the draft, free agency, this, that. I would like someone to ask him, hey, for 5 years you've talked about being aggressive and how it just hasn't worked out yet. Why is it not working out for Brad Holmes being aggressive? But 2 times a year, 3 times a year, Howie Roseman can get deals done that are aggressive multiple times a season. But Brad Holmes, for the last 5 seasons, essentially hasn't done one of those aggressive moves that we've all been talking about. But then all of a sudden we're in the media and he comes out and he says it and everyone's like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I get you, Brad. And then it's a couple months later, everyone's like, wait a second. He just bamboozled us. He just PR'd the heck out of us. And he just said something cool to make us feel cool for a couple months. No, really, dude, you keep saying the same answer, Brad, that's what I told Doc. Me and Doc talked on the phone. I was driving home from work today, and Doc called me, and this is the one thing I told him. I just said, hey, I just watched back the press conference. At what point is someone going to ask and bring that up to him? Yeah, let's keep asking, are you going to be aggressive? Why haven't you been? Why haven't one of these deals gone through? You say you've been, but nothing's came from it. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, Jeff? It's 5 years of him every time the media talks to him saying, hey, I am being aggressive. It's just not working. Why is it not working out, Brad? Why are you 0 for 5 for 5 years of not making an aggressive move? Do you see what,
no,
like, that's my problem. And no one's asked it, but it's like in the media, and I think they did do a good job today, Jeff. But I would say other side of that, I'll be the devil's advocate. Someone in that room needs to step up. And I told the doc that. I straight up told the doc. I said, like, you asked the question, follow it up. And I told the doc, next time you see Brad and you guys ask him, why is he the one that's not in there being like getting these deals done? But like less need. He'll get an aggressive deal done. I mean, maybe not every year these guys do it, but at least once every other year, there's something massive that goes through. Brad just swings and misses every time. But he's like, but I'm trying to be aggressive. Trust me. Trust me, I'm trying.
Those are the words that frustrated me, was when he kept saying it's not for a lack of trying. You don't get rings trying. You get rings for results. You don't think every organization tries? Everyone tries. I mean, how many deals, Booner, do you think that don't get done in the NFL? Do you know how many?
A million a year. A million a year.
So it's not, I don't like, and I mean this respectfully, I don't give a shit about what you've tried to do. People are wondering about your results. The things people are wondering about is you have a $50 million mega business, and you're running it like a startup. I mean, he's treating this thing like it's he's being patient, and we draft and develop, which again, I want to make sure I make this very clear, because I made this clear at the end, and I know it gets mixed up when we criticize. I think what Brad's philosophy has worked, okay, to start the rebuild. Look at where they've gotten to, right? Like from his first year here to where they've drafted a bunch of great players. You know what I mean? They've extended some really good players. Obviously, they've extended a player or two that maybe people are like, okay, that's a little odd. You know, Lee McNeil, people have their question marks. I'm not saying everything he's done has been a failure, but what he's failed to do is adapt. Okay, that's my issue. Is honestly, a lot of the answers he gave today, like I know he came to the podium and was like, listen, it's not acceptable. It was a pass-fail thing. We failed. All right, we passed by being in the playoffs. We failed by not making the playoffs. He kind of like brushed it over. But when he answered questions that were tough, it sounds a lot like the similar philosophies he had when we first got here. I think that's the problem people have, is like, again, you're going to have some of the similar ideas you've had always. It's like who you are. I get it. It's your identity. But you have to be able to adapt and be like, hey, man, this or whatever it is, like we have to, and you'll see with action in the offseason, talk is cheap, action's expensive. Let's see what he does. But it didn't give me a lot of hope today that there's going to be a lot of difference in his approach, which is frustrating. That's where I'm frustrated at. It's going to be the same old thing. Project. I think
it's the biggest thing with it too. It's just, as Brad's going about this, it's one, like, he's answering some of these questions when it comes to the being aggressive and all these, off-season moves. He's answering them like he answered them 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I told you on the phone, like, hey, I think 2 or 3 years ago, or even last year, it was fine to answer in those terms. But when you're coming off a season where you're 9-8, you missed the playoffs. I obviously, like, you don't want to see like, Brad, you owe the fans this. Like, no, Go do your job and like you said, prove it to us on the field and in your body of work. But when you are, though, in those moments of like, hey, you're coming off a 9-8 season, people just want to have that, like, they want to see you putting the actions in, like that you're going to step up to the podium and say, hey, I am going to be more aggressive. Like I've tried to be aggressive in the past. Obviously, what I've been doing, whether he says, he's like in the trade or the draft, there's the rumors of him potentially trading up for James Pierce and all these different things. It's like, yeah, he's done all of those. If I'm him, I'm stepping up there and be like, I'm being more aggressive, and I'm going to find a way to get this thing done. And I think that's what a lot of people today, and I told you on the phone, like, I don't know how we all could have gone to this press conference and left it kind of like, oh, let's go, Brad, unless he stepped up there and looked everyone in the eyes. And he, at the beginning, he said, hey, that's on me. But if he looked everyone in the eyes and says, I am going to change the way I've done this, we are going to be ultra aggressive, and we're going to go win a Super Bowl. If he did that today, then I would have been like, I didn't hate, I told you this, dude, like, I didn't hate how he approached today and some of his answers. I just think there were a handful of questions and answers that he had where it was like, like the aggressiveness one, it was just like a little questionable. Like when I almost called the doc John, but when the doc asked his question, you could tell he was a little taken aback. And then Wojo asked a similar question. I thought it was a little similar about being aggressive, and you could tell he was like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" Like, and it's like, what? Like,
what do you mean? What do I mean?
think everyone in the world understands what Wojo just asked, is that you've always said you're aggressive, but you've never gotten a deal done. Like, what's like, and he's just like, what type of aggressive do you mean? Like, it took me aback. I was taken aback a little bit, Jeff, and I was like, there's no way that Brad, like, he understands. Is he trying to be PR here, or does he genuinely understand? And he's like I told you, I said maybe in the back of his mind, he's like, oh no, like I got to fix this. But
yeah, and again,
he could the answer.
He could say all these things and make change. You would like to have that belief and faith, right? But your job as a GM, okay, I would like to think, I've never been a GM, but I'm just talking here. If you miss the playoffs and you severely disappoint, people expect you to not go to the podium and say, I'm a dumbass and, nothing we do works. I mean, I'm not asking for the guy to just be like, nothing we do works, we're stupid. I'm not saying all that. But you can at least be like, you know what? This city deserves a Super Bowl. I'm going to do whatever it takes. If it is being aggressive, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that Super Bowl. I think that's where, and then you get at least fans bought in again. That his job today was to get the fans bought in again. And clearly, like, judging by the response across social media, like, no one has been bought in. Like, no one felt better. And I know what you said earlier to me on the phone was fair. Like, anything the guy said, you probably wouldn't have had a big effect, but at least give something to where, like, today when we talk about it, we could be like, you know what? He did sound like he's pissed. Like, he sounds like there's going to be some big changes. It sounded like what do you mean by aggressive? Like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean, Brad? What do we mean? We mean doing what it takes to win a Super Bowl. Like, understanding that that's what matters at the end of the day. It's like winning a championship is what people are here for. It's not. You don't want to make the playoffs, get bounced, or win a playoff game. Like, yeah, that was awesome when he first got here. We won that. We got that monkey off our back. But now it's about winning a Super Bowl. Like, that's what it always has been. And you see Les Snead and these other GMs, Howie Roseman, they're aggressive, and Brad just doesn't have that. And I thought he had an opportunity today to kind of dive into that a little bit, and he just kind of deflected it. And he just, I'll just say this. I didn't like how he kept saying this. If you didn't notice it, he kept saying, well, that would give us a competitive disadvantage. That would give us a competitive disadvantage. That would give us a competitive disadvantage. That would give, dude, we're not asking you, and the guys in Lions Collective brought this up. We're not asking you to say who you're drafting at 17, bro. We're asking you to just address, like, where you fucked up. Like, it's not a competitive disadvantage. Just say what you fucked up.
He kept using that today too. And I think if you do look around to other GMs around the league, like, they're probably going to give some answers like, hey, this is what went wrong. Our offensive line was not great this year. And he did address some of that because he was asked some of it, and he did address some of it. I just think, like, with the Brad thing today, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, Jeff, I think 70% of the press conference, I thought he handled it well, and he was in that mindset of, okay, like, we're going to get this thing on track. We're going to do what it takes to do it. But then there was that 30% where there were a couple questions asked where the media was trying to get some out of him. They were trying to get the answers that people wanted, and he just refused to address it. And listen, I think the collective guys, you guys are all right. Like, he doesn't have to go out there and give your draft strategy, or you don't have to go out there and show the NFL what you're going to do, but you can at least tell the media and show the fan base, hey, like, we messed up. And if you have to say that every single question, then I would rather have Jeff stepped up there today and after every question, like he did at the beginning, where he took accountability at the start and he was like, it's all on me. I need to look inside. Where they asked, hey, if Wojo said, hey, why weren't you aggressive, or whatever the aggressive question was, instead of him being like, well, what do you mean by being aggressive? Instead of that, just being like, hey, I'm going to take time this off. I'm going to figure this thing out by myself, like, not by myself, but I'm going to figure this thing out. That's all on me. Maybe I need to be more aggressive. Maybe I need to take a different approach. Maybe I need to do this, but I'm going to figure that out for you. And I know you guys have asked a million times about being aggressive, and I'm going to figure it out. And we're going to do what's best for this football team to win a Super Bowl. Boom. Next question. Oh, this one. Oh, we're going to do what's best for the winners. If you would have said that for 40 minutes straight, Jeff, if he literally just said the same sentence, we're going to do what's best to win a Super Bowl, I would have flipped my laptop, not mad, and just absolute glory. Like, I love this guy. Like, yeah, that's what I wanted. You know, I told you, Jeff, I said, I don't know what he could have done today to make me be like, I'm in, I'm
right
all
there.
in.
Right
if
there.
he literally just every question, I just broke my stand. If he every question was just like, I'm going to do what it takes to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's so simple. Or if he said that in some sort of sense, like that doesn't give a competitive advantage away at all. But you know what that does? That gives the confidence to your fan base that you are dialed in for this offseason and you understand that you guys messed up this year and that there are things that need to change. And yeah, I know media and us, we would rather him not say all that because we do need things to talk about and to write about. But I would have respected the hell out of Dan or Brad Holmes if he would have done that.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll give Dan Campbell a ton of credit. You know what Dan did? And Dan, by the way, isn't even thinking, and again, this is a great point brought up on the Lions Collective, and I think this is a great point. Dan Campbell's job is what? Dan Campbell's job is not to think about the next 10 years or the next 5. Dan Campbell's job is week to week game plan. How do we win this football game? Dan's not, that's why when Dan gets asked through the season, you know how he gets asked about things? He's like, I don't, like, that's not, even though he can't say that, he's like, that's more of a Brad question in his mind, but he's just trying to answer it. Brad Holmes, I'm sure those guys are working around the clock, but Brad's had some time to think. All right. Dan has not. Dan just came off a win over the Bears, found out they knew they were going to miss the playoffs. And he came to the podium and said, we're going to bring guys in to compete. This is unacceptable. Like, we're bringing in guys to compete. We need to get some, not that we lost it, but we're going to have to get that grit back. You know, even though it kind of contradicts that sentence kind of is contradicting, but he was straight up with the media. He's like, this is unacceptable. We got to get our grit back. You know, we're going to bring in guys to compete. Like Dan, I'll give him, he nailed his press conference. Like straight up when he said that, I think a lot of people were like, yeah, good. Like this is what you expect out of a guy who just missed the playoffs as a head coach, you know, severely underperformed. He's pissed. Like he's pissed. And then Brad had all this time to think. I'm sure he's thought about the 5-year plan. He's thinking about the future. And he just came in and was like, you know, like just kind of like, yeah, I'm accountable. Like it's on me. And like years ago, bro, when he was bringing up receipts at the press conference, he said verbatim in that press conference, like, if I believe in accountability, like he was holding the media kind of accountable. He goes, if I'm not doing my job, I deserve to be accountable. I to be held accountable as well. And he had all these receipts for edge rushers and all this stuff. And then today it wasn't all that. He wasn't yapping a bunch in that matter. I mean, he was very reserved and very professional. Like, here's your chance, Brad. You know, like I know he said like, it's on me, but it was just very blah. Like Dan Campbell showed a lot of that emotion and was clearly like frustrated and went into more specifics. Brad didn't go into any specifics because it would be a competitive disadvantage.
Yeah, I think the specifics is the problem because I did love his whole thing when he Rieger asked him about the grade and he was like pass or fail. That's something you and I talk about all the time is like it's either you pass or fail. You win a Super Bowl or you don't. And when you're at this point of your organization, it's either pass or fail. I like the fact that Brad was like failure. Like they
asked him, what do you think?
That's my point is he had all these moments throughout the press conference today to where he would kill it with one answer, but then he would fumble on another one. And the fumble part was like, hey man, like give a reason why. And it was just nothing. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is like, what are we doing, dude, Brad?
And no one's asking like Platonic Zombie. Appreciate you watching. He says, these are clownish takes for 5 years in. What do you want him to be so emotional? No one, I want my GM clear-headed. No one's saying the guy has to be emotional. What we're saying is, I think the people, the media, fans deserved more details, more in-depth answers than that would be a competitive disadvantage. Like, I think people deserved to at least hear Brad, not only, and he did say, you know, it's on me or whatever, but if you hear Brad say, hey, these are some of the things that I think we got to get better at as an organization moving forward, you know, whether that is through the draft, whether it's being more aggressive, like I can do a better job of that. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win a Super Bowl, yada, 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 hammer those things home. He didn't do that. Like he was just kind of like, hey, I failed. We failed because we're not in the playoffs. Like, no, you failed because you weren't aggressive enough. You failed because you were too passive enough. You failed because
that was such a crazy one where him just being
you failed because you kept bringing back guys that were injured. Like, I mean, there's so many things that I'm not saying he's got to admit all these things, but what I'm saying is it's not just like a blanket statement of like, oh, we didn't make the playoffs, so we failed. Like, no, dude, there's a much more to dive into. And I think the media gave him some outs. Like, they asked him, well, what do you think you could have done better? That's a perfect question. That's a perfect layup for Brad to be like, well, self-evaluate. And dude, you've had time to think, bro. I don't want to hear people are like, well, the season just ended. Brad has had time to think. He's watched the season, dude. Like, he's had time to think. Dan Campbell, I'll give him credit. The dude's got no time. He just got out of a game. Like,
can I be honest with you? I think Brad Holmes left that press conference, Jeff, and he was like, I killed that. Like, he was like, dude, I just bodied that press conference. Because I think in his mind, he was like, I don't want to give anything away, but I want to take accountability, which I think a lot of times throughout the press conference, he took the accountability. But as we all keep saying, you keep saying, and it feels like the media, I know you spoke with the collective on your guys' show today. They were all had the same feeling to where it was like, he didn't give us anything outside of that. Like, every time he asked to go into detail, I think the Jeff Rieger question was one of the biggest ones. Where they asked him, like, what was something that was a failure about this? Like, why do you think you failed? What? And he's like, well, because we're here right now. I'm with you guys. And it's like, no, people want to know, like, Brad, why do you think it, like I sit up here and you sit up here, Jeff, and our job for a living is to break this stuff down. And we sit up here week after week, be like, for me, I'm like, hey, the number one thing was the O-line. Like, we want to hear you, Brad. What do you think is it was the issue this year? Because I could tell you what, if I go into Les Snead's or someone else's press conference or whoever had a bad season, I'm sure they're like, hey, it was our weapons. Like, it was our offensive line. We need to build our offensive line. We need to do this. We need to do that. He felt very close to the chest, and I don't know. The one thing actually that Doc brought up to me, and I know you're saying right now that you feel like they had that Brad had enough time, but the one thing that the Doc actually did bring up to me was he does understand it a little bit because the season did just end, and Brad did bring up, the Doc said how Brad was like, if I had all the answers now, it would be a problem because that means I've didn't take enough time to actually look into all of this. So he was like, I'm still looking into all of this. The Doc is usually like someone who is like is mad about things. The Doc actually told me that and was like, I understand maybe in some senses why he didn't go into some details because it's so fresh and he's still trying to evaluate what's happened, how to go about it, specific players, things like that. So the Doc did kind of devil's advocate it, which I understand. I just think there was a lot of more moments today where Brad did have that side of, hey, I'm going to keep this close to my chest, where again, like I said, all right, if you're going to keep it close to your chest, just don't make the statement of like, I don't know, like at least make a statement that's going to make the fans feel a little better, in my opinion. I know that sounds really dumb, but that's
part of the job. That's part of the job. Like, it just is. And even like, what I'm thinking about? And I'm going to play some of these clips because there's context to what we're talking about. So I'm going to play a couple of them. And we'll get to the Dave Montgomery stuff, the Kirby stuff. There's so much more to get into. But
by the way, too, I'm sorry, Jeff, just shift.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shift just says like Brad didn't get the Rams over the hump. I don't know if this is like a real comment or not, but like Brad was a scout essentially.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not cool
you can't. I don't think you can sit here and be like Brad can't get us over the hump. I still think
he was
Brad
just a scout.
But he was a scout then. That's just like
he was like the director of player personnel. Like they didn't. It wasn't really.
Yeah,
that was.
That's like being like right now, like Mike Disner's the problem, and you're like, what?
Yeah. I agree with that. I wouldn't.
Or like blaming Chris Spielman. Like it's just. Yeah, come on.
I wouldn't go that far. I will. I'll play something. I forgot what I was going to say, honestly. Even when you were not that you did anything, I actually just forgot what I was going to say. If it comes back to me, I'll bring it up. But I want to play some of these clips because he did talk about the season. I just remembered real quick before I play this. You know what I was thinking about? If Dan, let's say, how we talked about Dan, like Dan had a couple mess ups, whatever. If they got into the playoffs at like 10-7 or whatever, do you think Brad would have been like, we're good? Like he wouldn't have said we failed, right? They got in the playoffs.
I don't know.
Because he said did say pass fail. He goes, we're not in the playoffs, so it's fail.
No, I thought he said you didn't win a championship.
Is that what he said?
I'm pretty sure he said it's champion.
That's what popped in my mind. I'm like, if they would have snuck in, like we still knew this team had a bunch of holes. Like, I mean, it was.
No, I don't think that. I don't know.
Okay.
I think if we look at it like that, then we're getting a little too like we're just fine looking for something, in my opinion.
All right, but let me play this.
I see what you're saying though.
This is Brad Holmes talking about the just the season as a whole. I'll play this clip and then we'll react to it. But this is pretty much at the beginning.
Look, bottom line is, for our standards, this was a disappointment. All right. When we set out for this journey, for this season, it wasn't to match last year's record or exceed last year's record. It doesn't really matter what the record is. Bottom line is, if we're not in the dance and we're not competing for a championship, it's a failure. So it's a lot of things that we're going to have to take a long, hard look at. But before I look at anything, I'm looking at myself. All right. So I have to do a better job. Obviously, haven't been good enough. Look, bottom line is,
he said he did say technically just get in the
maybe
day.
he did. Maybe he did. Oh no. Oh no.
No, but
I tried to save you.
I don't think it's that's something we need to harp on. I was just curious.
Oh,
but he did
Brad.
the beginning. I will say, Mr. Ray, I agree with this. He said he took accountability at the beginning, but from question 2 and beyond, he did a lot of talking around the question rather than directly answering it. Smart for a GM, but not great for fans. See, this is I
was gonna say, yeah. I think he went into that press conference knowing that he was going to try and be. Brad started in PR, so he understands the game in that sense. He's very, very, very good when it comes to PR. So I think in that sense, I think that comment's spot on. As the fans and especially media, I could see why media might be and I could see why fans are but for Brad after, like I said, I think he literally walked away from that press conference today. It was I just bodied that press conference. I truly believe he did.
Someone, who was it? AG's Werner said he went to his office and looked in the mirror. He looked in the mirror and was like, "You're the man."
Hey, you did that, Melvin.
Yeah. Let's. Well, he did also talk about.
I hate this, by the way, dude.
He
I
also
like
did
Brad
say
Holmes
that,
so much.
He said Detroit Lions GM Brad Holmes, and if the Lions are Super Bowl contenders, he says, I don't think we're that far off. I do think that we're very close. Which they do have talent, dude. They have talent. They just regressed on the O-line, regressed on the interior D-line, and mixed in some coordinator changes, mixed in some injuries. It fell apart. I don't think they're a team that needs to rebuild.
No, I don't think they're even close to that.
Go that far. They're
there was a part today where Brad did say that he was this isn't something to where it's we need to start over or we need to
I have that clip here. I can play this. This is the actual clip of him talking about it. Here's Brad on that.
You're just the big picture view of how close or far you think you are from the.
I don't think that we're that far off. I personally don't. We have a lot of good players. We have a lot of good young ascending players. We have a really good quarterback. We have the right coach. I do think that we're very close. And hey, look, maybe that is some of the things that, maybe that's one of the items that needs to be looked back on, is thinking that you are so close. And so then now you start changing some things because you only need this piece. You only need that piece. And you got to feel, and it's no, who's the best player to fit for what we're trying to do that has gotten us to have the expectations that we have as a football team right now. So again, we'll be looking at everything, but I do not think that this is a deep surgery overhaul. I don't think that, but obviously there needs to be some adjustments made for sure.
Second part of it.
Yeah, I have a question about that second part for you. I just have a question.
Because I have a problem with the first part, but I'll answer that for the second part. What's your question?
Well, the second part. Well, the part of that, I just don't know. When he says, "Hey, maybe we need to look ourselves in the mirror," and or whatever he said there, and maybe we took the wrong approach where we got to this point, and then we're let's try and change who we are. Was he insinuating there them switching and turning into we want to develop players? And he was wait a second, we shouldn't have done that. Is that what he was meaning? That's how I thought of that instantly.
It sounded to me like he was making an argument or trying to mention a point of something the Lions actually didn't do. He mentioned that's
why I was confused. Yes.
He said
going after that one big piece,
one player, but they never did that. Yeah. They literally.
But that's why I think maybe he was talking about developing.
Like we're one. You said last year we're not one player. It's not one player away. People get obsessed with we're just one player away, and then in the press conference, like maybe we did get obsessed with we're one player away. Brad, you guys don't make transactions. Like you're not that like. I could see if they did make a big trade and now they're here and they're like, well.
What confuses me about that is he said we're one player. We go out there and go get that one player for that one spot that it might be. But then right after he's like, but maybe we needed to stick with getting the best player. And it was like, wait a second. That's the same. It's almost the same thing. Like,
and people
because they stopped going after the best players and they started going after their guys and developmental guys. And before they were just going after best player. Like they were legit BPA before where they were getting Jack Campbell because they thought he was the highest player in the draft. Jahmyr Gibbs, highest player in the draft. Like Jamo, like they were going after their actual BPA. And then the last 2 years, it felt like they veered off BPA and they were like, oh, we need corner. Let's go get Terrion and Ennis Rakestraw. That ruined that draft. Oh, like we love Ty Lake. Like he's not BPA, but he's a Brad guy. He's a Dan guy. Let's get him. And then you miss on a couple other guys. It was like, I don't know. That was why I said I had a question because he said the same thing twice, essentially. That's why I wanted to ask and said, maybe he misspoke. Maybe he meant in his mind, he was thinking like we went towards the developmental side of things when we should have just stuck with our first 2 years of drafting when we went BPA. That was how I kind of took it. He just misspoke maybe.
I think he did because it's confusing. I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know. And I might be getting this. I don't know. Based on watching it, hearing his response, it sounds like something like Howie Roseman would say, like they trade for Jalen Phillips and they don't win a championship. Like that sounds like something like he would be like, yeah, maybe I was too obsessed with we're one player away. You guys didn't do anything.
That's why I think he misspoke. I think he was trying to make an example. I think he was just trying to, we could rewatch it if we want that one part, because I think he was just trying to make an example of changing it up. But in all reality, he meant like we went away from who we were because we thought we were already good enough. Because he essentially said we thought we were good enough and we were there, so we changed our approach up. And that's exactly what happened. Me and you, Jeff, talked about that a million times over the last year or so with this draft, where they started to get obsessed and gone away from BPA, and they started getting obsessed with like, oh, Giovanni Manu, we can develop the British Columbia guy. Instead of like being like, oh, we're going to need a tackle. Let's go draft an absolute dog out of Bama or something. Or the SEC.
Yeah, now they're getting he did another part I didn't like, and this is the big thing people were wondering, was the developmental thing. And I think he was asked pretty directly about that. Like, taking guys that are developmental guys versus, taking guys that can impact whatever the question. I forgot the exact question, but they did ask about the whole like taking projects thing and in a different verbiage. And he said, we're always going to take guys that we think are good players. Like if we think a guy can reach that potential and they have qualities, we're going to take that player. It's like, well, Brad, it just so happens that every time you do take that type of player, it just doesn't work out. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's something that again comes in with the self-evaluation thing. It's like, well, Giovanni Manu, I was the biggest Giovanni Manu guy. He has not shown you anything close to being a starting offensive lineman, let alone a tackle. Like even a guard, he hasn't shown you anything. Broderick Martin's not on the roster. These are guys that you went up and got in the fourth round. It's like developmental. Like that was kind of another opportunity. Not that again, you're going to say I fucked up, I'm an idiot, but it's like you got to take guys that can impact your roster. Yeah, take the best players you like, but take guys that can impact you. And make an impact on rookie deals that can impact your roster right away. Not projects.
That's why they went away from it. They
contradicted it a little bit because he said in the same press conference, he did bring up the reach thing. Well, people get obsessed with the positions, and I'm paraphrasing. You take a left tackle because we need a left tackle, but that tackle might not be the best player that you need to take. It's like,
did he say that today or was that a past?
No, he said that today about like the left, because somebody asked him about Taylor Decker and left tackle and stuff. And he's like, well, you take a left tackle, but that might not be the best player at that, whatever. It's like, so you felt that way about Giovanni Manu then? You know what I'm saying? You felt that way about like you are reaching. Maybe it's just guys you think can be really good. But like, let's not act like you've taken BPA every single time, dude. Like Giovanni Manu was not the best player available, clearly. Like Broderick Martin was not the best player available.
Do you think? while we're on, like you're talking Gio and Taylor Decker, can we play the offensive line video? Because I have a question for you and the people in regards to that. I think we posted it. I think we did on Twitter, I believe.
Yep, I have it.
Because there's something I have a question for the people about it, and thought process too. Because it's another one of those like two things can be true things, I believe.
All right, here's Brad on the O-line.
The offensive line in general as a whole, it hasn't been ignored in terms of like I know we've, drafted in 21 and then 22 we didn't, but 23 we went late, 20, but you'd be surprised about the moves that we tried to do that we could not get done, that involved offensive linemen, whether that be draft or free agency. But no, it hadn't been ignored. We tried to do the best we can. I was excited about the youth injection that we did go with. I think it was necessary, but I believe I mentioned after we acquired those players that, there's going to have to be some patience. There's going to be some things that those young guys hadn't seen before. I do think that those young players will get better, but just the offensive line as a whole, whether it's the interiors or the tackle, that's something that's going to continuously, we're going to have to be urgent in terms of adding to.
What'd you think of that?
I just think there's the two things with the O-line is one at the very end. I love the fact that he says like, hey, we're going to have to be very urgent in regards to it. But also it sounds like, I don't know. There was a part in there of him talking about them building the offensive line and that they've tried to do everything. Like people might think that they haven't, but they actually did try and do a lot. I can't remember. Okay. That was the part that I was like a little like, wait a second. I wanted to ask you guys in regards to that. Like, do you guys truly believe that they did everything? Because listen, I think Brad, there's a lot you can trust in him. Maybe they did, but it was like, how much did you try? Because like you can look at what the Bears did in one offseason. And I know the money and cap, everything's a little different because you are starting to pay some guys. So there is a little bit of a different side to it. But like he was like, we tried to do everything. Like I wonder if he's like kind of insinuating Kevin Zeitler. They tried to get him back. He didn't come back. Like, did you try and get another replacement for Kevin Zeitler? Did you try and go out and get another left guard? Like he didn't really address, and I guess maybe that's something where the media could have followed up. Like, Christian Mahogany, were you expecting, like, did you fully trust he could take over at left guard? Tate, Graham, like, it was just such a weird thing to me. I don't know. It was very, very odd to me.
Yeah,
do you understand what I'm asking or no?
Yeah, no, I do. Because he's done that with a lot of different. Whenever he gets asked about deals in general or free agency, he always has the same kind of like, you guys would be surprised with what deals we couldn't get done. I just think this offensive line, the thing that frustrated me was when they talked about Frank, and he said that they found out it was already after free agency, I believe, and the draft when he was officially retiring, but they knew that it was coming. He did admit that they did know it was coming. So that doesn't really change the whole big argument or the problem people have. That is, why weren't you better prepared for that? Like that kind of admits at least that matter is like, yeah, you guys might have found out, but you at least knew it was coming soon. And here we are with the same situation with Taylor Decker, where you have Giovanni Manu as basically the only developmental tackle or tackle that you see even you hope to be a part of your future on the roster. That's a problem. So I didn't like that. I think we all knew that. And by the way, you look great. You look great now. That Frank Ragnow was going to retire, but he kind of admitted that they knew about it and they still didn't really have a plan for it. They thought Graham was the plan, I guess, would be the answer.
Yeah, I know. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
My question is, it's not really with the Graham or not the Graham, the Frank thing or the Taylor thing, being prepared for any of that. It's more so, it's like he insinuated that they did everything they could to have a good enough offensive line this year. Like that feels like a lot. If you did everything you could, you wouldn't have had essentially two rookies at guard and Graham Glasgow at center. you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to insinuate here. It's like, I don't even know if it has any, like, as soon as Frank hangs up the phone and says, hey, I'm retiring. Okay. Do we really trust Graham Glass? Like, do we really think we can go win a Super Bowl with Graham at center or Tate at center or Tate starting?
My point is they found out after the draft and after free agency officially.
But even at that,
knew.
They knew. I guess that's a good point. And I don't know. I don't want to like sit here and be mad at Frank for that because there is a side where it is a little like, dude, after the draft of free agency, I know you want to take your time, and we would have loved Frank to come back, and obviously he was struggling with it. But, dude, you gotta. My face is so blurry, by the way. I don't know what's happening at the moment.
Are you hooked up to the same internet as always?
As always.
The guys getting DOSed? They're getting DDoSed right now? What's going on getting hacked?
I don't know what's happening. The people are just like Booner fix thing. I'm gonna go to my camera settings.
No, it's probably just, I don't know. Maybe you guy we're talking about Brad Holmes. Now your internet's just, I think I'm next. I don't know what's going on. You guys are just knocking us off air. I mean, you look clearer now than you did. A little bit clearer. Yeah, you a little bit clearer than you did.
Camera. High definition, it says. Am I not? I look clearer between you and I, but if you actually go to the YouTube stream,
now
it looks so bad.
Yeah, now you're
visual effects. Should I turn this? Should I turn the green screen on?
Let me see. The green screen's gonna look.
Did that work?
No,
green screen popped up.
No, this guy wants the green screen. I mean, it's just no. It is probably your internet for some reason. I don't know why. It's weird. Because usually nothing else changes. It's the same setup every day.
I don't know what's happening.
Now you got a city behind you, dude. Just blurry me with a city behind him. Troy Weaver. That's funny. Yeah, Troy Weaver.
I'm just blurry, I guess, for this show, man. I don't know what to do.
It's okay. Don't worry. It's fine. We'll battle through. Yeah, so to kind of just echo your point, I agree with you. I don't know if he did enough because you basically went into the season. Let's just get this straight. All right, if you're Brad Holmes, you went into the season with Christian Mahogany starting at guard, who started in one game. No one really knew at that point because there wasn't you didn't get to training camp to see him progress, so we just were banking on him to be good. You had Graham at center, who you saw in spots at center. You didn't have he wasn't a guy that played a bunch of center in his career, I don't believe. I think he played it sometimes. And you knew he was aging, and you knew he wasn't close to the player Frank was. And then you had a rookie in Tate Ratledge. So that, and then a Taylor Deck who's been injury riddled and battling injuries. That, to me, it's hard for me to believe he thought that was it. He thought like that. It's hard for me to believe that he was confident in that unit. I mean, I don't know if he did enough. I mean, not that I don't think he knew he did enough. I don't think so.
No. Do you think him basically being like, I think we really needed like a youth movement in the O-line, insinuates that and then he also said that, like, he says that, and then he also at the end is like, but there's urgency to fix this O-line. Which way do you think he goes about it? Do you think he actually goes like remember, like, my point is like draft an offensive tackle in the first round, someone who could start right away, and go out and get a center and free agency, offensive line's fixed, like you're good to go. Do you think he does that, or do you think he's like, we're rolling with Mahogany and Tate and we'll draft a center or something?
You know where I lost confidence when he said, someone asked, again, I can't reference all the questions, but they asked basically about free agency a little bit, and he kind of dodged that, was like, well, he brought up like kind of the free agency strategy of like, we have guys, alluded to basically, it didn't sound to me based on his answer that they're going to, like, for example, Tyler Linderbaum, I don't think that's even a conversation. I don't think they're going to sign Linderbaum. That ain't going to happen. There's no fucking way. There's no way. There's no way. Maybe they bring in like to your point, like maybe like a 1-year deal, Joe Bitonio or something, but they ain't spending money and getting a Tyler Linderbaum. That ain't happening.
Who's your future center? You don't have one.
I don't know.
Who?
I don't know.
Tate, they're like, you know what I don't like about the Tate situation too? And this is where I'm at with the Tate thing. Dude, just leave Tate at guard. Like, let him work all offseason at becoming the best guard in the NFL. They're just like running him around being like, you might play center next year. Be prepared just in case. It's like, dude, like this guy is a second round draft pick for you. Like, tell him what he's playing. And I know I understand, but it's like even Tate, like Tate's end of season interview in the locker room, they're asking him like, are you expecting to play center? Like what? And he's like, honestly, I'm going to practice both. Let the guy practice one. Someone tell this guy what he's doing next year. And I get it. Like, you want him to be prepared, but it's like, dude, either tell him, yeah, you're our future center, or you're a right guard for our future too. But like, it's just like you're wasting half of your time practicing a position you probably aren't. Like, you can't play them both. So if he's going 50% center, 50% right guard, and guard this offseason, we'll get working on it and trying to get his skill sets down. Guess what? 50% of the time he's working at a position he's not going to play next year. Guaranteed. That's not even me making
injuries or something. That'd be the only way.
Yeah, but it's a guarantee because he's working on both positions, and there's a chance he doesn't play one of those next year. So he's just wasting 50% of his reps. And yeah, he's getting reps, but it's like, dude, think about how like it's like me being like going into like a basketball season in high school or whatever when I played, and my coach being like, you might play center this year, or you might be a sharpshooter and play shooting guard. You should work on your shooting half of the time, and you should work in the post the other half. And then we get to the season, and I didn't get enough shots up in the offseason, so my jumper's not all as good as it should be because I worked in the post for half of my workouts. And it's like I never was in the post in the season. So that's such a waste of my time. I could have shot double the shots I did, and then double the shooter I was.
I think Tate should stay at guard. I think he should stay.
Me too. I think he'll be a great guard in this league.
He's going to be a great guard. Go get someone who's a center, a true center out of college. There's some names, or go get someone in free agency, or honestly, do both. How about you get both? You can always have more. Honestly, I think it's harder for someone to play center from guard than it is play guard from center. Like if you're a center who can play guard, it's a little different for me because you already have the center intangibles than it is to be like, hey, Tate, you've never played center except for a little bit. Try center. It's like, it is a lot for especially a rookie. Like I would just go get a true center. I mean, just go get one. I love Jake Slaughter. I just saw Steve Lehman put that in, but I'm with you. I wouldn't.
How do I look now? Do I look back a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I look good. I don't know if you see it like here in our, but
you get blurry to me too. You get blurry
because right now I'm.
Now you're clear. You were blurry for like 20 minutes for me.
I just went on my hotspot on my phone.
Yeah, now you're.
Did Steve Lehman say I'm still a little chubby?
You look way better than you did.
Are you talking about like my looks from like a couple years ago to now?
Both.
Or
yes.
Are you yeah.
Both.
Hold on now. I'm on my hotspot on my phone now.
Michael says, agree to a certain extent, Boone. He needs to be the backup at center anyway. If you play guard in the NFL, you can play center.
But it's like
that would need extra practice is the snaps.
Coming off a rookie season, it's just like practice the snaps a little bit, have it down, but like just work on guard. Like, can we just, what is it called? Like chisel, like figure, just get those. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. I'm so razzled and frazzled from this.
Razzled and frazzled
from this internet.
Yeah, just honestly, yeah. Fine tune.
This internet's really just fine tune. That's all I'm trying to say. Fine tune being a right guard, and then you can, work on your snaps if you want. Razzled, frazzled.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Hey, by the way, before we get to the Dave Montgomery stuff, we'll get to that. I think we got to get to that last because it's probably the biggest one. I don't know if I like the. I don't know if I like the Kirby Joseph stuff.
There's a video on Lions Twitter if you want to play it. They actually posted it.
Let me play because I got a little worried for that. And by the way, like Lions Collective brought this up, and I thought it was very fair. The only thing that they brought up, which I thought was fair, was when they were asking about the safety position. This is what I mean, by the way, when we were talking earlier about Brad and just being direct and being more open, a little more open, not completely, but a little more open. They asked him about like the safety spot. And he said, we're going to treat safety just like every other position. It's a position on the team. We're going to look at it. Like, Brad, how about you just be like, hey, with Kirby's, we have a lot of question marks in that safety room. I'm fully aware. We got Brian who's dealing with a major injury. Okay, Kirby, all that stuff. Like, it is a position that we do need to make sure is good going into next year. Like, he was just like, no, safety's just another position. It's like, that's like the little moments where I'm like, you could probably be a little more direct, but whatever. I'm just nitpicking.
I love you so much, and I love all of the media. I think people are nitpicking a little too much on things because I don't think he answered the safety one that bad. I think he was a little fair about it because he did admit he was like that's something like he essentially said with the money coming up for like Brian Branch and us paying Kirby, like, yeah, that's something we got to look at now, which I think is fair. I think that's what I would rather him said that than come in and be like, no, we're fine at safety. Like, no, he did acknowledge it. He did.
Here's the clip.
We really wanted to be out there. Kirby, he earned that extension, and I knew how excited he was to. I feel like he's already shown the world what type of player he is, but now that he got the extension, I feel like he really wanted to show the world why he got that extension. And, obviously, he had some things that he had to deal with physically. And what became hard was you're trying to urgently get healthy enough to play during the season. And that's really the reason why we waited so long to put him on IR, because he was making strides and progress at different points of the season where, maybe another week or maybe another 2 weeks. And so when you had that last recent setback late, but so bottom line, I'm just glad that Kirby's in a spot now where he's not trying to urgently get healthy. He's going to have the necessary time to get the rehab and treatment that he needs to get as healthy as he can.
But yeah, there you go. There's his answer.
Can I ask you?
He was asked about the Kirby contract too, which I don't think is like. That's just unfortunate, like that he gets injured after he gets signed or whatever. I think that's just luck of the draw.
I don't think that I think the stuff is interesting with Kirby and Brian Branch, because there is a world where you might have to go replace these guys and you don't know what's going on with Kirby. And Brian Branch has that major injury. I don't think Brian Branch gets extended based off of what was said today. But maybe you disagree, or in a lot.
No, he did say he wants to make Sam and Brian a priority, but
he said guys who are healthy are going to get the money first, and that's just which I think is fair. Like if you have a major injury, it's hard to, it's hard to really, like Hutch was kind of a one-off, but you kind of want to see Brian Branch come back a little bit before you do pay him, in my opinion, because you've already put so much money elsewhere. I don't think, maybe I'm though opposite side of you and a lot of people. I don't think the safety thing that he said, I think he made it very well known that I think him being like, it's like another position. I think when he says that, I don't think he meant that in a derogatory sense of, oh, it's just whatever. I think he meant it in like, most people think that, you have the best duo in the NFL, to where he looks at it more so like, I'm going to still make sure that this is a good position with or without them. And we need to address it. That's how I took it from him.
If he said that, I would have been fired.
I know. I think Brad just sometimes says things in a way where maybe not everyone understands. That's how I think Brad meant it. I don't think he meant like, it's just another position. It's whatever. Like if he meant it like that, then he's just
like, he did say that. I don't know how he meant it, but he did say like, we treat like every other position.
But when he said that, my football mind went to, okay, he's treating it to where he's going to approach it and make sure that it's good to go for next year. That's how he meant it. I don't think he meant it in the sense of, whatever.
I don't know. I hope so.
I think sometimes.
Hopefully he didn't mean it like the offensive line this year.
Hopefully no, listen, like Jeff, I'll be on your guys' side for a lot of this stuff. I think there's a world where a lot of fans, you might be in this, and some media people, the doc, like nitpick a little too much and take everything he says, and it's like, I hate this, this sucks. It's like, well, I don't think he like we really like Brad definitely didn't just mean it like it's whatever.
Well, we just don't know. We basically just be debating nothing because we don't know.
That's what I'm saying, but I don't.
I don't know if I'm right. I don't know.
I don't want to nitpick it in a negative way. Everything. I'm gonna stay up for Brad for a little.
That's what it seems like. I mean, I'm not trying to say the guy, I'm not trying to nitpick everything, but the reality is we just don't know what he meant. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what he means. I mean, we'll see if he addresses safety. That's something we got to wait.
I have a weird question. This has nothing to do with the safety position, Jeff. I just want to get your opinion on this. Maybe we can ask some of the people who are in the building. When they have to put like transactions in, like say they go in the morning, right? And they have to like put these guys on IR. They want to, move these guys up to, how do they do that? Do they just like shoot an email, be like, hello, NFL, we are just reaching out to put blank on IR. And then we want to move blank up from the practice squad? Or is there like a website they go into and they're able to like manually click it and like submit, and it submits those players?
Probably at this point, the NFL, $1 billion business, they probably have some sort of software or something. I don't know. They probably have some sick
software. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's like in the video game. Yeah. It's like in the depth chart in the video game. You know how you can like move a player down, move a player up, down, up. They can just move a guy down to the practice. Okay. That makes sense. I would love to know.
If a multi-billion-dollar company is using email, I would be.
Remind me when we go to the combine, when we speak to a GM or we speak to someone in the front office, remind me to ask that question.
Like Tim, he says they fill out a form and fax it. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's just all I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, wow, I don't know why that popped in my head, but no one else thinks of stuff like that. Is that just me?
No, of course. I'm curious about that stuff. They call it in. It's like there's like
no way they call it. Do they make a transaction every day?
There's a dude who sits in a room in like the NFL headquarters, and it's just him in a room with one cell phone, and someone just rings and goes, "I'm putting him in IR." He goes, "All right." He runs into the office. Guy in IR.
Write down a piece of paper.
Sits there for 24 hours a day, just every day, all day. They feed him in like a little. They give him food through a little hole. Here you go. It's like that one show, Night Agent. I don't know if anyone saw that guy who sits in the room and waits for a phone call. That in the White House. That's what the guy at the transaction office does. I would be shocked if they use email. I'd be so shocked. I
think you're right. I think they have some type of software where it's like, on Madden, like you can like move guys around. I'm sure they have something like that.
Yeah. Or AI. You got AI now? Come on, man.
There's probably like an NFL website that they log into and every morning and
they write up a little note, roll it up like a scroll, attach it to a Mongolian hawk. Oh, that's funny.
That's unreal. All right, that was a good question. I thought I had something there. How about that, huh?
Yeah.
Remind me though. I'm actually going to ask someone that I want to know, like, what's the software you guys use? How do I get access?
Yeah, how do I see? How do I get?
I do have access to like the media portal to where like you can go and look at every day's transactions. Like I could go right now. Do you want to go check out? I can look at transactions.
Well, I'm going to play this clip of Brad Holmes talking about.
I'll pull up my transactions while you do that.
All right, he spoke about the Brian Branch stuff and the extensions.
Guys eligible for extensions. You got Sam Laporta and Gibbs coming up. How big is that a priority to get those guys taken care of as well?
It is a priority because they're really good players. And we, when me and Dan first started, we said we're going to take the path of draft, develop, and sign our own. And I do think that has worked so far in terms of getting us to this point. Those guys are priorities because they're really good players. They're really good players. They're great in the locker room. They represent everything that we're about. So I would say that those are all priorities. We'll just we don't have a decision on timeline yet, but yeah, definitely both priorities.
A couple more guys eligible for extensions. You got Sam Laporta.
He said Sam Laporta and Gibbs, but I'm sure he meant Jack Campbell, or maybe he was talking about Sam Laporta. Maybe he was just talking about all those guys. I wonder who's a priority and who's not. That's who I want to know. Is this like Jack Jahmyr, end of story? Or are they really going to try and get the Sam Laporta contract done? Like, I know Brian Branch is a hard one because he tore his Achilles, but Sam Laporta might be
I think Sam might. I think the one guy he was talking about because he was like guys aren't injured. I think that's Jack because I don't know if Jahmyr is eligible. Is he?
He said, let me hear the quote again. He said, he goes, you got guys like Sam and Jahmyr coming up for extension, but I think he might have just meant that class maybe. Because those are two different guys. One of those guys has a 4-year contract. The other has a 5th-year option. So I think what Eric was probably meaning is just those guys, those like Jack, Brian, or something. I don't know.
Because Sam's due, right? He has 1 year left.
Yeah, like him and Brian are due quicker than Jack and Jahmyr.
Yeah,
you know?
Jack is the same class. You have to sign. No, okay. Let's rewind 1 second. Take a step back. Brian Branch has 1 year left. You don't have to sign him right away because he's injured. Sam Laporta is going to probably play to start the year. Brian won't. So you could potentially extend Sam because he's going to play start to start. Jack has his 5th-year option to where you have to, you have to give him his extension this offseason. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's not one you can push back. And it's not because he has the 5th year, so he's fine. Like, he still has 2 years left on his deal, technically. But you opt into that 5th year, you get him his deal now. Because the longer you wait for Jack, the more money you're paying. You get that deal needs to be done draft week. That one's there is no question. Sam and Brian, you can figure that out later. They're both on the final years. Yeah, Jack has too. But as soon as Jahmyr, you have another year. You have next year.
You do, and I would wait. And you know what's interesting?
You have to wait. You cannot extend Jahmyr this year. He's the draft class after, right? Am I crazy?
Same draft class. They're the same draft class. You took Jahmyr. You took Jahmyr.
That was Jamo, Jack. Am I crazy? It was Jahmyr.
Yeah.
Jahmyr was with Sam.
Jamo was with Aiden. Yes, it was
Jack Campbell was not in the same as Jahmyr.
Google it. Yeah,
he was.
Jack,
wow.
It's Jack, Jahmyr, Sam, and Brian.
Then no matter what, then yeah, Jahmyr and Jack, you get those done, and you just say we'll figure everything else.
Well, hold on, but maybe Jahmyr.
No. There's no hold on.
Well, I'm just saying. There's a 5th-year option. I would be. I don't know what the 5th-year option. Let me see. 5th-year option for running backs.
Yeah, running backs. I guess you can wait. Hey, I'm sorry, guys. I was wrong. Okay. Some of us mess up.
Let me see. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr
Gibbs' 5th-year option would be a fully guaranteed $14 million deal. That's big.
You do the 5th year
because that's going to be cheaper than paying
20. You're going to have to pay him 20.
Yeah, and I think, let me see, top paid. Let me just look at the guys.
I think Saquon just got 20 or 19.
Yeah, he just got 20. You give him the 14. That's about Jonathan Taylor, fully guaranteed. And people were wondering what the franchise tag is. It's between 11 and 14 million, somewhere in that ballpark. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think you wait it out. I think Jahmyr's a good prime example of
I would ride it out.
5th year opt in, you ride the 5th year out. Oh, franchise tag. Whoa. Don't you? I know you don't want to play on that. Sorry.
I'm not saying, listen, people are going to like this. I would just wait and see with Jahmyr a little bit. That ending of the season left a pretty bad taste in many people's mouths. I mean, the last 6 games, he averaged like 3. But that's the point, though. That's how running backs are, though. They're dependent on offensive linemen. So you're going to pay a guy $20 million? $20 million to be a running back, and you need to go to O-line with no money? You know what I'm saying? And honestly, do we have to see Jahmyr without Demont fully? You know, like, he was thriving with Demont this year. He had moments, but I don't think he was as consistent. You can say the O-line, okay, fine. But wouldn't that make my argument, actually, that you need a good O-line? I mean, that's if you're paying him $20 million, go get yards. I don't give a shit who's blocked. Like, you should just be productive. I don't know. If I'm paying you $20 million?
$20 million is a lot. That's a lot. I think you'll know in the next 2 years.
So yeah, so I agree with you. I'd wait on that.
You'll know by the end of this next year. Shout out Spencer. By the way, Spencer, I need you to be back. I need the boys back. My hair is really bad shape right now. My beard, everything's just in bad shape at the moment.
Yeah, we need Spencer to get us right, man. He says, "Wait,
I told
you to go for it all."
And Jahmyr, potentially for now.
Potentially, how about to say? I don't know, man. People wanted to annoy, like, oh, Gibbs is an easy get done. I mean, he played in every game this year, didn't he? He played in every game. I mean, just being honest, he had a couple pops, massive games, but he wasn't that good in a lot of those other games.
And they took a lot of DMOT touches away from him, from DMOT to give to Gibbs. And there were a lot of games that they were giving DMOT's touches to Gibbs, and he wasn't producing.
What's the perfect segue?
Facts. Those are just facts. Listen, facts, Jeff. We only talk about facts. They gave David Montgomery, or they took away David Montgomery carries and gave it to Jahmyr. Majority of those at the second half of the season, Jahmyr didn't take advantage of them, and it was bad.
Yeah. David is getting paid $9 million, and David's a very good running back, and the future of him is in question, according to Brad Holmes. But, I mean, we didn't need Brad to say it. I mean, we all knew it. His role's been inconsistent. You know, you feel bad for the guy because you know he still can contribute. You know he's still not even – I hate even using the word RB2 because he's truly an RB1, just in an RB2 role. He's a good back. There's not too many RB2s that are as good as Dave Montgomery. He might be the best in the league, just as an RB2. It's an argument for sure with other guys that back up other star running backs. He's very good, and they took away a lot of his touches. I mean, he's getting paid right now like top 12, whatever, running back money. And he was, I think Will brought it up today, he's like 32nd in touches. Like, there's no way, dude, if you're getting paid like he's getting paid. Brad Holmes, I don't blame Brad for paying him. Brad paid him assuming he would have the role he had the last 2 years.
I wonder what's so weird. The Brad comments today, I know we were going to play a little bit of it today, but Brad was even like, you know, I wish he would get more, you know, carries and touches. Like, he had brought up his sympathy about how they want to get him more touches. And he's like, even Dan feels the same way. But it's like, Dan was the one calling plays. So why is Dan feeling the same? Like, Dan's acting like someone's holding him back from giving the ball to David Montgomery. Like, that's where I get a little confused on what's happening with D-Mont.
Is the Shard choice just like, hey?
Yeah.
No.
It's like there's a question because it's like, oh, Dan feels the same. Like, does he? Because he called plays since the Washington game, and D-Mont went like 6 or 7 straight games of getting single-digit carries, which, like, he had like 3 of those games total in 2024 with Ben Johnson. And it was just like, and then the final game, the last couple of games, there was times where in the red zone and the goal line, they gave it to him, and he did something with, like.
Well, I know people like, you know, Steve, you just said choice was Gibbs. I know, like, the Gibbs choice connection. If you're Dan, though, you're the head coach.
I don't know if that's some, and not just the head coach. He's a play caller too.
Well, he's the play caller and the head coach. Like, he's Tashard Choice's boss. Like, if he really wanted D-Mon involved, all it would take is a conversation. Yeah, we're getting D-Mon more involved. End of story. Like,
yeah,
he didn't do that. So clearly, it's on Dan. Like, I'm not going to say Tashard Choice. It's not like Tashard Choice is like, no. And Dan's like, no, come on, Tashard. Like, come on, man. We want to use him more. And Tashard's like, no, you're not using him more. It's like, no, Dan Campbell deserves responsibility.
And if I'm Brad Holmes too, and obviously Brad doesn't really like, he obviously, him and Dan have a relationship, and you know, they're in kind of lockstep. But if I'm Brad and Dan's not using David Montgomery, you do. And people might have been mad at Brad for saying and doing what he said today about D-Mop, but like, I think Brad is in the right and perfectly fine with what he said, to where Brad's like, hey, we're going to have a conversation about this. Like, this is something that has to be discussed. And I think the reason that Brad's in the right with that is because Brad did pay him. I don't know. What is he getting paid? Do you still have the contracts up there? The running back?
Yeah.
What does he rank when it comes per year? What does he rank among running backs?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's 12th right now.
So he's the 12th highest paid running back in the NFL. And if you're Brad, you're like, I paid him top 12 money and you're not using him. If you're not going to use him, I'm going to go out and get a guy that I'm going to pay top 40, top 30 money, and you can use him in, you know, like you do D-Mont. We'll get you a same style back. And we could save money to go build an offensive line or go get an edge rusher or go get whatever it is. But if you're Brad, like, yeah, you're the GM, man. Like, you have to find those spots on your roster where you can save money and you can pluck and kind of move around and do this and that. And that's why I think Brad's like, we're going to have a conversation. I don't think the conversation is like, hey, we don't want you, but it's more so like maybe with Dan and the new OC, whoever that is, can you guys get D-Mont the rock? Because we are paying him top 12 money and he's getting paid and he's only getting the ball 30 something in the NFL at his position. Like, that's an outlier. And I'm not going to say Demont's a waste of money, but the way that they are using him is a waste.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Let me see. I want to see something here. Because I will play this. I'll play this clip and then we can talk about it. Because I want to get a stat, but I'll get it while the video is playing. Here's Brad Holmes talking about David Montgomery. Very interesting.
Have a lot more in depth in terms of, like, what is the best plan for him going forward? Is it somewhere else or whatever the case be? But just really appreciate everything that he has done for us. If it does end up going that way, I hope it doesn't, because we love David Montgomery. He's a good football player, and wish we would have been able to get more utilization from him. I know Dan feels the same way. But, those are conversations that we're going to have because got a lot of respect for that player. He deserves to be in a situation where his skill set can be utilized. And so, we'll love it for it to be here. But if it can't be here, then you would have to just see which you can work out the best.
So, basically translated to Lions, it's time to either shit or get off the pot. It's either utilize Demont or trade him. That's point blank.
I don't think Brad is in the wrong, by the way, for any of this. I think he's as a GM, you're in the right spot. Idea. Yeah. I liked his take on it.
Yeah, I that's where I'll defend Brad. Like, giving him an extension, I had no problem with, because you knew how dynamic those two are together. And he lined it up to where Demont would be paid until basically the end of Jahmyr's contract. So he lined it up. It's just about utilization. They're not utilizing him. And I'll tell you what, Dave Montgomery, or I'll say Jahmyr Gibbs, the last 6 games of the season, like just down the stretch when you needed to win games, he averaged 3 a carry. Like I don't know where Demont was. He had 3 touchdowns against Dallas and didn't have a single touchdown in any other game, rushing touchdown. He had 2 receiving touchdowns, and he has been big time when it comes to receiving yards. I mean, he averaged 40 yards a game during that stretch, but as a running back, like, they just didn't have the production in the run game. Before then, there was the 200-yard games, the Giants game, he had 200 yards. He popped for a couple, explosive games where he just went ridiculously crazy in those games. But down the stretch when they needed him, they didn't utilize David as much, and he didn't really play well. Jahmyr he didn't have a good end of the season. So I don't know what they do with this. I honestly, in the role Demont's in, you can replace that.
Yeah.
In the role he's in.
But the thing is, and that's where I think people need to understand.
You want to use him more?
Me, I personally would like to have Demont on this team in using him in the right way. They just didn't use him in the right way this year. And if you could sit down, Brad, Dan, and Demont, and Dan can commit to Demont that, hey, we're going to utilize you like we did in 2024 when Ben Johnson was here, then I think he's worth all of that money, right? Like, it's worth having that running back duo. It changes your offense. But if you're not going to, I think you're spot on. And in this, again, like, I want people to know this has nothing to do with Demont's talent or anything. It's on the offense of whoever the staff are utilizing him. And when we say, hey, you can go replace Demont, it's not actually replacing what Demont actually is. It's just the role that he is in and that they've switched to, because they've completely switched Demont's role from 24 to 25.
How about we play a game? So I told you Jahmyr Gibbs' last 6 games of the season. His last 6 games of the season, he averaged 3 yards a carry.
All right.
3.1. Okay. Guess who got some touches in those 6 games? David Montgomery. How many yards per carry do you think he averaged with less touches?
All of those games combined, the last 6?
Just the last 6 games. Yep.
I think he averaged 4.7 yards per game.
4.8. So he almost averaged 5 a carry in the last 6. Jahmyr averaged 3. And guess who got the ball almost double the amount? Sometimes triple.
How do they not know? How do they not notice that?
We can see it. I mean, he almost 5 a carry down the stretch. I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's something, dude.
Doc tweeted this out too. He just tweeted this out, actually. I guess it was like 2 hours ago, a couple hours ago. Or no, he just tweeted this out like 15 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago. Look at he says someone close to David Montgomery told Detroit Free Press he was unhappy with how he was being used in 2025. So you even have people close to D-Mont saying he's pissed. So, I mean, which obviously this isn't, I mean, we kind of figured.
I don't blame D-Mont at all. Like, I would too. Like, are we going to be mad at David Montgomery for being underutilized? And, like, how can you even blame D-Mont? Like, I'm right there with D-Mont.
Now, if you want to use
with the struggles they've had.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
you lost 4 straight or 3 straight games, whatever it was, and you're not utilizing one of your best weapons at all, essentially.
Like, dude, there was games like David in that stretch of games, the last 6 games, he had 8 carries, 6 carries, 4 carries, 8 carries, 6 carries, like whatever. He's getting under 10 carries. Jahmyr had games where he had 20 carries, 13, 17, 19, 12. Like he got basically double-digit carries. I'll tell you this. He averaged 15 carries a game.
Yeah, Jahmyr. And you know what's crazy?
David averaged 7, so half.
This is, and by the way, I love Shift, but I don't know how he's probably commented a bunch tonight. I've read 2 of his comments, and he's 0 for 2. He wants to be a starter. Like, no, he doesn't. David Montgomery, I don't think is out here being like, I want 20 carries. I think David Montgomery just wants double-digit carries. Do you have his game logs up there, Jeff?
I do.
How many straight games during that bad stretch of football did he go for? Did he have single-digit carries?
Everyone but one.
Exactly. I think David's just like, hey, can I get some carries? Like, can I get to 12 maybe? I don't think David Montgomery's mad that Jahmyr's getting more, because guess what? Last year Jahmyr was getting more already. But he was still getting his 12 to 15 a game while Jahmyr was getting 16, 17, 15, whatever it was. So it's not that D-Mont's like, I want 20 carries. I think it's more so just D-Mont's like, hey, I'm getting 6 carries this game, 8 carries this game, 5 this game. I mean, this guy had 4 carries in one game and you lost. 4. You pay him the 12th most money out of all running backs. You gave him the ball 4 times. And there are people out here mad that David Montgomery is upset about that. I mean, come on, dude. Like,
Doc just sent the part of the article. Shout out to the Doc, dude.
Doc's watching. I love the Doc so much, dude.
He said Montgomery, this is the Detroit Free Press, credit to them. I believe that's Dave Burkett, I think. Montgomery, I could be wrong. That could be my mistake. But Detroit Free Press, nonetheless. Montgomery, 28, was careful not to complain publicly about his role, but he posted several cryptic messages on social media, and a person who knows him well told the Free Press that he was frustrated about his lack of use, something Holmes acknowledged Thursday. Obviously, and this is the Brad Holmes quote, obviously I know that it was a tough year for him in terms of the lack of touches, and I'm not going to say that we went into it planning for it to be like that, Holmes said. And he said at the end, you can't see, but he just said, I thought he handled it like a pro. So that's basically.
Can you keep that? Can I tweet this out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you keep that up?
Yep. So shout out to the Doc. Doc just said it is Dave Burkett. Okay, I got it right. Just making sure I give credit there. Shout out to the Doc, man, giving us live information as we're on the show, helping us out. But yeah, I mean, this is not surprising. David Montgomery to me is in a position right now. Like, let's look at it on a human level. How old is David Montgomery? David Montgomery is 28 years old. Okay. He just got paid for a 2-year deal that kicks in next year. So he'll get paid till he's 30, and then he could kind of get another chance of being paid at that point. But if you're looking at it from David Montgomery's perspective, he's saying to himself, I need to put up production before my contract's up. So I have 2 years after this. If this is the role I'm going to be in, I'm not going to have another chance to dip back into the pot and make money. So I don't think David Montgomery cares about like, oh, I need to be utilized more than Gibbs. But he's saying to himself, I need to get mine. Like, I need to get my, carries a game. I need to get my chances at it. Okay. Because we know if David does, he can get you 1,000 yards. He can. And then teams will look at that and say, man, he got 1,000 yards as an RB2. This guy, he didn't really do much at all this year. So David Montgomery's thinking to himself, I'm 28, bro. Trade me to a team that will utilize me, unlike I've been being utilized with you guys. And I will not only get the carries, I'll get the production, which then will lead to me getting paid when the time comes. So from David's perspective, man, this is business. Look around the league. Look how many teams right now, even teams that are in the playoffs, could use a David Montgomery. Pretty much all of them. Okay, unless you have like a top 5, a really, really good back on your team. Obviously, then that's not the case. But Houston, Kansas City, I mean, you can go around the league and look at teams that are very good that need running backs. And Kansas City, obviously, to make the playoffs, but they need a running back. They would love David Montgomery over there. So from his perspective, like, yeah, dude, there's a lot of teams that could use a back. And if you're not going to utilize a man, some team will take him. So I hope he stays. I really do. I hope he stays. I hope they get it right and utilize him correctly. But I wouldn't be shocked if they move on from him, honestly.
And you know, I wouldn't be mad at David or anyone about it. It's just like I think Brad said it best today. It's just he is someone that, you know, you want him to be able to have he's talented, dude. He could be an RB1. He could be an RB1 on a lot of different teams, and obviously having Jahmyr in front of him is an issue. I think. Listen, Jeff, this will be my last part of it. I think there's a way you can use both of them. And it could really, really help you win a Super Bowl. I truly believe that. Like, I think you're better off keeping David and actually using him the way you're supposed to than you are going out and getting you're not going to find someone. It's like me and like what we talked about with the price difference, man. But we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with Steve. They ultimately favored explosives over consistency. I agree with Steve.
I like the consistency, man. That's why you won.
That's why you change it up. You get a little bit of both.
But you switched to only explosives this year, and what happened? You lost 3 straight games, and you missed the playoffs.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. So it is. You know what I thought, and we could talk about this, and then we can get to the OC stuff, which we will address. I didn't want to bring up this part. I guess the coordinator stuff is more of a collaborative thing than I thought. Like Brad's kind of like involved in that too, man. I knew he would to some extent, but I thought that was more like Dan kind of dictating it. But Brad,
I think it's more so just advice of like.
I'm sure, but it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I'm just saying like he kind of had I'm surprised he had opinions on it, which I like. You know, he was like he talked about the offense and was like, yeah, like he weighed out on how it just didn't work out, whatever. And then he talked about the defense, and he didn't go too much into Calvin, but he did say something I thought was really interesting. He did say our run defense kind of, it was uncharacteristic, he said. And we've been a good run defense notice how he could have went the route of players need to be better or something. He said it could be scheme. I'm paraphrasing. He said that's something that we're going to have to look at or whatever.
Yep.
But it just seemed to me he kind of insinuated a little bit that it could be coaching or scheme. And the question is, are they going to give Calvin another year to figure it out? Or are they going to get rid of him and try and find someone else? Because with the OC, they did say they got rid of him because guys were getting available. They're like, well, names are out there. You got to make a move because, guys are becoming available. Defensive coordinators are available. Very good ones. So I'm curious because I know Steve commented earlier. Steve says, did he suggest indirectly that he didn't like Shep and the scheme was, or in the scheme too, or did I imagine that? No, I actually kind of got the same feeling on that. I don't think he, I'm not gonna say the guy hates Kelvin, but he did kind of. Listen, like what about Jeff really hates? I'm not saying I hate Kevin Shep or anything, but I don't understand. Help me understand, guys, but I need something more than just injuries. Help me understand why a healthy front seven couldn't stop their run.
I agree.
Understand why your defense regressed in several different areas, despite last year suffering more injuries. I mean, I wonder
in the back of his head, because he did make those comments today. I wonder if that was insinuated because he brought up scheme, and I wonder if Brad felt like he gave them the right front seven to go out there and stop the run and be good. And he was a little like taken aback about the scheme because there was a significant drop off with, again, like your secondary and your safeties were the ones that like people want to bring up injuries, Jeff. That was just your safeties. You had everyone up front. Who was out up front? Was there anyone out significant?
No. Not only did you not have anyone out up front, Booner, you had 2 All-Pros.
Yeah.
Jack Campbell and Aiden Hudson.
and you had Aleem McNeil, people want to be like, well, he's not fully back from injury. Then don't play. Like, why when he was coming back was Aleem like, I'm 100%, and Dan was like, he's like 96, and they were like, he's back and he has no pain or anything. No, he just was bad. And like, you can make the excuse for him about injury. It had nothing to do with injury. They just were bad, and schematically, maybe defensively, dude, I don't. They were just so bad in the run, and they had no injuries in that front seven. None. No injuries in the box. There was no excuse. And they regressed. And you know this, Jeff, dude, they regressed like double. They were like second in the NFL last year in run defense, or first in run defense. They dropped significantly, I think, to like 14th or 15th this season. And I think Brad, in the back of his mind, he's going, it does make him look bad a little bit, but he's like, dude, you had a better front seven than last year. How do you not get that job done? I would be frustrated if I'm the GM. Do we have the clip? I just would try to go find the timestamp of him talking about the edges. Do you know where that was asked in the show or in the press conference?
I don't know exactly where, but he essentially brought up, he did bring up AQM, which again, it's not I get it. Like, you take your victory lap. The guy had a bunch of sacks, but he did mention that they're going to have a similar approach, and they have to find who's going to play on the other side of Hutch. But they did say they're going to have a similar approach, which I don't really know what that means. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't know what that means. He also did bring up in that same conversation what you were mentioning when we were talking about the offensive lineman. I think Brad did say there's been moments where deals people don't know about. I'm sure like James Pierce might have been, and maybe they were trying to get a guy like James Pierce. I don't know. But I don't know. The edge thing is going to be another conversation. They kind of joked about it when he was asked.
Yeah, I just wanted to play it because I thought it was so interesting. I'm trying to find it now.
You can really just see him smile and laugh. That's probably a highlight, like a part of it where you can see it. I think it's like it's like 70% in, 60. It's like more than half, I want to say, where he kind of talked about the edge thing. And
he brought up, he was just like, obviously he was like, he felt like he was confident this year in the edge group. Obviously you had Josh Pascal as well, Levi, neither of them played, and Marcus Davenport didn't play. I think a lot of people maybe, and I don't know where you thought about this, Jeff. The reason I wanted to play it was because there was something that he said. I think he said replenishing the edge room. And I think a lot of people were taking that the wrong way that I saw on Twitter today. And I think essentially what he meant was, and honestly, Jeff, maybe this is just me being blinded and a slappy. I kind of took it in a positive way because Levi O's deals up, Josh Pascal's deals up, and Marcus Davenport's deals up, to where him being like, we're replenishing, that makes me think, and if people want to be mad, be like, what are you talking about replenishing? I think he was basically saying, like, we're getting new guys in here. Like, I love those guys, but we got to replenish this room. Like, we got to get new dudes in there. Like, AQM's up. 4 of your edges are up. Because when they asked the question, they essentially asked, like, you only have Ahmed Hassanin and Hutch really are your 2 edges right now, literally on this roster. Because AQM, Pascal, all of them. I think he was, Jeff, insinuating at, like, I'm going to go out and get new guys in this edge position. Like, I'm moving on. That's how I took it.
Finally,
I guess we'll see, but I took a lot of people on Twitter I saw were commenting, like, putting out there on Twitter that it was like a negative thing. I think that's I think he's going to go out there and get some new edges, and I love that. I'm like, yes, please.
I'm curious if Booner's interpretation. I hope your interpretations are the correct interpretations.
But he might re-sign 1 or 2 of those guys. There's no way he re-signs all 4. If he says replenishing and meant that he's re-signing all 4 of those guys, I hope I'm right. But I think he goes out there and he says, we're done giving Levi Onwuzurike a chance. We're done giving Josh Pascal a chance. We're done giving Marcus Davenport a chance. We are going to go out there and replenish this room. That's how I took it. And I want people to remember this too. I want people to remember this. When he goes out and signs new edges, when Marcus Davenport signs with, like, I don't know, the Arizona Cardinals, I want all of you to be like, Booner, you were right.
Marcus Davenport.
He will not be back next year. Marcus Davenport will not be back.
Took 2 years, finally. It's like, I'm glad. If he does do that, Booner, I'd be happy. If he finally says, you know what?
How did you take that?
even though I didn't admit it was a mistake, at least the actions speak louder than words. I'll admit that. And if you don't re-sign Davenport, I think you should just let go of pretty much everybody, but like one of Josh or Levi, bring back one, but cut everybody else. I'm cool with that. Out of the free agents, Roy Lopez, obviously.
Is that how you took it, or am I the only one in Lions Nation?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of the shit, dude. It's not because I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I have to go back and really watch it. I have to watch this multiple times because I'm more confused at some things than I was before.
Can I make a deal with you? I think sometimes and I watched it twice today. I watched it live and I watched it on my way home. I watched it the second time with the mindset of I'm going to try and take positives out of this. And these are some of the things that I came out with. I think the first time watching it, I think we all went in, and I told you this, Jeff, on the phone. I said, I think everyone goes in looking for stuff because of how bad of a season was. I think you watched the first time and you're like, I'm finding bad things out of Brad today. I want you to watch it with a positive mindset. Fair,
I did the live stream, and I did when he said something. I was like, "That's fair." Like I was like giving him love.
All right.
I was like, "That's fair." I was like, "No, that's true." Like and then other things, I'm like, "Dude," But so I don't know. Maybe I need to watch it again. Maybe I
challenge. Can I challenge you? I challenge you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'll not. I know for a fact I'm not gonna watch it again and be like, "Wow!" Like you know what? I was just overreacting and being a little bitch. Like I think there's a lot of things.
This guy's great.
But I'll definitely watch it again. I got you.
All right.
I want to see Brad
with a positive mindset. I want you to go in positive. Go get yourself a chocolate croissant, glass of milk, sit down, get in your happy place, and watch Brad Holmes.
Now, what I will say, and this is all I ask for, Brad. Is this fair? Can we just get an answer on the other side of Hutch? And I'm not saying Trey Anderson or anything. That'd be great. That lasts here longer than a year. Can we just get someone that's like a draft pick for the next 5 years or 4 years?
What round?
Well, I don't know. Whatever.
If you were the GM, how would you approach it?
Well, they don't have a third round pick, so
you're gonna have a third round pick.
Okay, so first, second, or third?
Not first or second.
Oh, but whatever. I don't know. I mean,
that was a test, dude. I've said this a million times. I don't want to see one mock draft without a tackle in the first round. If I see an edge rusher in the first round, I'll be mad. You need a tackle.
That's why I said like second or third. They got to take one in the first 3 rounds. If you don't want to go first, fair. Okay, fine.
Trade back in the first, add a third, add a second.
Yeah, there you go.
Yourself an edge.
But did you see? I think I'm gonna. I want to do. I'll probably do a video on this tomorrow. Mel Kiper's first rounder for the Lions.
No, I didn't. I didn't know Mel Kiper was back again this year.
Should I bring it up? You want to see it?
Do you want to? Can we talk?
Oh, okay. We'll do our mic again. Yeah,
let's do 9:40, 7 minutes. Let's talk OC for the next 7, and then let's hit Mel Kiper.
Okay, because I do want to show Mel Kiper took. All right.
You could do a video out of that too. Detroit Lions first.
That's what I was gonna do. Yeah.
Do that like that's a good Saturday video.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, let's get to it. The big news besides the Brad Holmes press conference. What's up?
Want to pay some bills real quick?
You damn straight we are. We'll see you in a minute.
Yeah, I'm on a roll. I had a first
Packers Bears this weekend, NFC North matchup, and I have my picks for you. I'm going with Jordan Love over on the passing yards. Give me more, 225.5. I'm going more Christian Watson, 51.5. I'm going more Josh Jacobs, 0.5 touchdowns. I think he gets in the end zone this weekend. Colston Loveland, this is a player that shouldn't surprise anybody. I'm going more for 3.5 receptions. He caught 10 passes against the Lions. So give me Colston Loveland. Again, check out Sleeper Picks. It's very simple to use. You choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame live or across different sports. You pick more or less than the predicted stats. And on Sleeper, you can get up to 1,000x payouts. Share with your friends. Get rewarded together. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the show as always. Now let's get back to it. As you were saying, Booner.
Hey, that was cool, dude. You cut me off with virtual you. That was impressive. I don't even know what was I saying? I don't even know. Pay the bills. I said I was doing so bad the first hour of the show. I was struggling. I couldn't talk. And now I'm locked in. I've never been more dialed.
Yeah, no, you got me there. We needed it. We needed that one. Let's get to the OC stuff because it is a big topic. Who are they going to bring in at offensive coordinator?
Man.
And today we talked about David Blau, and we could kind of chop it up on that a little bit and just talk about the offensive coordinators. But today they have or at least reached out. They've reached out to the man, the myth, the legend, Mike McDaniel. Look at this photo. Look at this photo.
There was an S at the back of his name, by the way, at the end of his name.
You've been saying the S?
Mike McDaniels.
That's okay. I mean, you're thinking of Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, but I like McDaniels. Look at Dan blushing doing this. It already is.
Yeah, the Mike McDaniel. Let me just say this. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is who you interview. Guru, offensive guru, obviously. Little geeky, but that's what you want. Young, innovative.
Love that.
Loves ball. All about schemes and offense. He would be a slam dunk hire. And you got to think of what he's worked with, Boone. This is, I think, the best thing you could bring up. Look at what he worked with in Miami. Tua, timing quarterback, pocket guy. He worked with some great receivers. You have great receivers here. You got Devon A-Chain, similar running back, at least of speed with Jahmyr. There's a lot of things that are similar. And although Mike McDaniel, you could say, has question marks about his leadership, he doesn't have to do any of that or culture or anything. He just has to call plays.
Yep.
I just wonder how different maybe that's why they just want to speak to him, just like philosophy-wise with Dan. But, like, if I'm Dan, I don't give a shit. Like, let's blend philosophies, bro. Welcome. Like, they were pushing the ball downfield, and the problem was Tua didn't have an arm. He couldn't push the ball down. Jared might not have, like, Matthew Stafford, but he can push the ball downfield. We've seen it with J-Mo. You know what I'm saying? So I think this would be a slam dunk hire. Slam dunk. Blank check.
I was literally just gonna say, you give him, you go up, you go to your office, and if you're Brad Holmes, you go find that checkbook, or Dan Campbell, whoever's the one paying him, Sheila Hamp, or you go over and you talk to her, have a meeting with her, and you go, Sheila, this is going to help win us a Super Bowl. Like, this is going to make a splash. Yeah, he might be gone in a year or two, and I know a lot of fans are like, well, we don't want a guy that's going to leave. If you have a Super Bowl, I do not care. You bring Mike McDaniel in to run this offense for the next year or two, and you give him enough money, Jeff, and a lot of people are like, well, he's going to go for another head coach job. After what he just went through in Miami, I'm sure there is a number amount that you could show him that he would be like, if I don't have to deal with being a head coach for the next year or two, thank God I could take a little bit of time off and be an OC. And that's what he's good at. That's what he's great at. Just focusing on offense. I went back, Jeff, and I watched his press conference when he was in Detroit, and they did the joint practices. And dude, I watched two of them. One 20 minutes and one 17 minutes. Yeah, we should play both of them. But I watched both of them all the way through. He looked so defeated, Jeff. And like, he's like, think about an offensive mind like that. Like, he probably just wants to talk offense and just talk ball. And like, what's this guy's getting asked just questions about culture, about certain players' attitudes and how they are. Like, dude, I watched almost 40 minutes of his press conference. That was like all it was. And you could tell, like, that's defeating, especially if you're like, I'm a football guy. All I love is football. And now I'm having to deal with this. Dude, you give him as much money as you want or you can to beat out the Washington Commanders and Dan Quinn, and you make sure that you make a splash hire. You talk about Brad Holmes being aggressive, this and that. If I'm Dan Campbell, I'm taking note of what the media is saying about Brad. I'm taking note of all of that. And you know what I'm doing myself? I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to make the splash move. If Brad's not going to do it, Dan Campbell, go do it. Go get Mike McDaniel. Go get one of the, like, you're adding one of the best offensive minds in the entire NFL right there with Ben Johnson, arguably. And you're putting him in this room with Jahmyr Gibbs, J-Mo, Amon-Ra, D-Mont, potentially Sam Laporta, Jared. Like, it changes everything. And it takes so much weight off Dan Campbell's chest. You go make this move like tomorrow, and you do not allow him to get into any other building. If you allow him into the Commanders building, Jeff, another NFC team that's trying to get back next year, that's a loss. That's a huge loss. If you end up with David Blau instead of Mike McDaniel, that is such a big loss. You do everything in your power to get Mike McDaniel as your offensive coordinator this offseason. That should be number one priority when you talk about a staff. That should be number one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Dan Quinn, he talked about his relationship with Dan Quinn, how they go way back. He was there for David Blau when he, Mike McDaniel when he was suffering with like addiction and stuff. So him and Dan Quinn are super tight. So that's a worry of mine, but they're super tight. And I can see him being the OC there. David Blau actually just got interviewed to be the OC with the Commanders too. And I saw actually a tweet. Someone, who was it? Damn, I can't remember who it was. Someone with they have a lot of followers. I forgot who it was. But they said one time they were coming back home on a flight from like.
I saw this as well.
But you see that with Dan Quinn?
Yeah.
And he was talking about, they asked him about David Blau. He just became the assistant quarterback coach. And Dan Quinn said he lit up. It was like, that dude's going to be an OC. Like he
said in the next 5 or 6 years, he'll be an OC.
That's the thing with Blau. I think Blau is a guy who's been a part of, he's been with Kevin O'Connell. He's been with under Cliff Kingsbury. He's been with Ben Johnson. I think he knows a lot of offense. I just think it might be a little premature. Like Davis Webb, at least, is the passing game coordinator. He's kind of in a similar boat. I would like to see Blau kind of work with an offense in that matter too. Like, but also, you know what Justin Rogers brought up? And I didn't even think about this. Kellen Moore, he was a quarterback coach for Dallas for a year, became the OC, hit the ground running. So, which I'm not saying he's going to be Kellen Moore, but it is kind of say like, that is fair. Like Kellen Moore he was a quarterback coach for like a year or two. Jumped right into OC role. He's been obviously Kellen Moore. He was like,
but Kellen Moore, how was David Blau in college? Where did he play?
He played at Purdue.
Yeah, was he good?
I don't know if he was good. I know he did take some plays from Purdue and throw it in the Lions' offense.
I would have to say he wasn't as good as Kellen Moore because Kellen Moore was an absolute dog.
Well, I don't know if playing career hell. I mean, Ben Johnson ass.
Fair. He was a backup. Yeah, I think.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Let me see David Blau's stats actually.
But Kellen Moore was a dog at Boise.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Kellen Moore. Yeah, he obviously
he like lost like 2 games his whole career, I think, or something insane.
I
used to love watching Kellen Moore.
He did have a season in which he threw 25 TDs and 21 interceptions.
Jeez. So he knows what not to do. Now he's learned.
But his last year, he had 25 TDs, 10 picks as a senior. So he got better. But yeah, as a sophomore, he started as a freshman.
Really? At Purdue? Yeah. Well, Purdue has always been bad. They've never been good. I could go.
But yeah, to be fair, he could have the Kellen Moore path, I guess, and just be. But he could be the exception. Maybe that doesn't happen like that. I don't know. Might be a little premature for David Blau, but he does intrigue me. But Mike McDaniel would be a home run for sure, man.
I think Mike McDaniel, if you got to do everything in your power.
And he'll be a head coach in a year. He'll be a head coach in a year. He's already he might even get interviews now. I mean, honestly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think maybe he would, if I'm him, I'm probably trying to like, hey, I'll take a year off. And I'm not saying fully off of football, but being a head coach to where it's like, that's a lot, man. And I know he's already potentially getting an interview. I'm guessing he's going to get one for the Ravens.
Arizona will probably reach out to him too.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to have some options. But if I'm him, like, dude, Mike McDaniel, think about this. Imagine this. He comes to Detroit here, puts the number 1 offense up in the NFL, win a Super Bowl. You get any pick, any job you want instantly. You don't have to go to Miami, where Miami, like, I'm not saying like he couldn't have gone anywhere else, but like, did he really think he was going to go to Miami and win? Maybe, I guess.
No one has it. No one does it. I mean,
yeah. So like for him, it's like, let's wait another year, let a job open up where I can maybe win. Now, if he went to, I'll tell you what, if he became the head coach of the Ravens and he has Lamar, then I'm scared. He's good. That's good. Think about that.
Dude, I could see there's like talk that they interviewed Davis Webb. That's the guy I was talking about.
Yeah.
I doubt they hire him.
By the way, Davis Webb he was a backup for Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech.
Played under Cliff, was with Sean Payton. Like, he's been around bright guys too, man. Sean Payton loves the guy.
I saw a tweet about him today, and I was like,
that's why I brought up because at least you could say like Davis Webb has been Sean Payton's like right-hand man this past year and has been there, even though that is still a risk. I understand that, but like Sean Payton, like maybe there is kind of the relationship there. But I saw that the Ravens interviewed Kevin Stefanski. They interviewed Kevin Stefanski. I think Kevin Stefanski will get a head coaching gig. He's not going to be an OC.
Do you want me to pull up real quick while we're talking coaching cycle? Do you want to hear the odds for each coach?
Yeah, I would love that. Sounds like, yeah, let's do that.
I was telling you about it yesterday because remember how you said Brian Flores didn't get any interviews? He just got one.
With who?
I think the Ravens.
Great. That's a great.
Yeah.
That'd be a great fit.
So I'm gonna say a name, and I would like you to guess who the favorite is.
Okay.
To get the job. We'll start hard. This is level hard.
Okay.
The Tennessee Titans.
I'll
give you a hint if you want one too.
I'll say just how about this? Offense or defense guy?
Offensive.
Oh.
And you want me to tell me if you can't think of it? I'll give you a second hint. And
I might need this one's tough. I'll go another one. Go another hint.
Another hint. He was a head coach before, but it wasn't recently.
Oh, Mike McCarthy.
No. Mike McCarthy is the second favorite at plus 425.
Oh.
This guy is a big favorite. Mike McCarthy's second at plus 425. This guy's plus 140.
Why am I not thinking of the guy?
I'm gonna make it even hard. I'm gonna give you. I have another hint that might give it away, but
who? Just say it because I'm not getting it.
He coached in the NFC North, head coach before.
Matt Nagy.
Matt Nagy plus 140.
Matt Nagy.
He is a massive favorite to be the Tennessee Titans head coach.
Holy shit, Matt Nagy! Wow.
Yep.
That one's interesting. Okay.
Remember him in Chicago? We've had this conversation on this show before with Matt.
He
Nagy,
won with Trubisky.
He was winning. And they still let him go, and he was winning. So and then he goes and works with
he's been with Andy Reid,
Chiefs in the Mahomes for the last few years. All right, Las Vegas Raiders. I'll give you this hint to start off. Defensive coach, big favorite too. Second favorite is plus 500. This guy's plus 150 to get the job. Defensive coach.
Is this one Brian Flores?
Brian Flores is the favorite
because they have the Tom Brady connection, Patriots thing.
Yep. And then the last one, a lot of the other ones are down right now. There's only 3.
You know what I think real quick the Raiders should do? They should hire Kevin Stefanski. They should go because you're going to draft a quarterback. They should go offensive guy. They shouldn't go defense.
If I was them, though, I wouldn't go Stefanski. I would go a younger
or go an offensive guy.
Yeah, anyway. I would try and get a younger guy in there.
Go, but offensive guy, even if it's whoever it is. Maybe not Stefanski.
Like Matt Nagy is the second favorite for the Raiders as well. Davis Webb is on this list. Clint Kubiak. By the way, the Clint Kubiak thing, dude, that's one of I saw a tweet where it was like for NFL coaches, when you do get an opportunity, someone tweeted out, I was like, when you get an opportunity to be a head coach, like a lot of people get mad at some coaches for taking jobs like Kellen Moore. Like, why would you go to the Saints? Someone made a really good point with Clint Kubiak. Didn't he get fired or let go as a coordinator a couple years ago?
Yeah, he's bounced. I know he's bounced around.
And then all of a sudden, now he's one of the favorites to get a job. And then like someone brought up an OC. Oh, someone brought up I'm drawing a blank right now. I can't even remember it. But someone brought up like an OC that last year was one of the top candidates for a job, and then this year he got fired. I think it was what's his name in Washington? Cliff Kingsbury. Where last year everyone wanted him as a head coach, and then he stayed, and they were in the NFC Championship game. A year later, they missed the playoffs. He gets fired, and then you look at Clint Kubiak last year, got fired. This year gets the job as an OC, and then now he's one of the top head coach.
The guaranteed money and coaching, you have to take it. Guaranteed money, dude.
You could be fired in a year as a coordinator, and you could be a great coordinator. It just doesn't work out.
And then a head coach, if you're fired in a year, you get to keep all. You get to get paid. You get paid.
Yeah. It's
and
one
by
of the
way, I
most
think my two
things.
favorite coaches right now, the most intriguing to me is Davis Webb and Clint Kubiak. Those two, I think, offensive guys, young, like those dudes could be. I think they're guys to watch. If you want to look at the next, like who's the next, like Sean McVay, Ben Johnson's already a head coach. Those two are the guys I'm watching.
Yeah, dude. Sure. Clint was the OC for the Saints last year. He gets fired, and then this year the Seahawks 1 year head coaching candidate. It's incredible how those things.
I think I can guess the Giants. Is it John Harbaugh?
There's no Giants up here. I don't know why. They only have.
I think that's an instant pairing. Or Cleveland.
The last one I can see on a different one. The last one they have on here is the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, this one's tricky because I don't know. I would say, is John up there? Because they fired Mike. I'll say they fired Mike McDaniel now that John's available, so they probably want John. But I think I think New York's the best place for John, but I saw Cleveland and John that's like interesting for him. Why would he want to go to Cleveland?
I don't know if that's like a for sure.
He's like got the Ohio ties, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, my guess is that was just like
the Giants is a way better situation. You have a quarterback, you got a young core. They just need a culture changer. And John Harbaugh changed culture
too. Something to keep an eye on with John Harbaugh and the Miami Dolphins is his family is a Michigan family, technically, right? University of Michigan, owner of the Dolphins, Stephen Ross.
Oh, that's a good point.
Went to Michigan from Detroit, has that kind of that background. John Harbaugh found out the other day. I told Klotz always would be like the Harbaugh's Toledo. John Harbaugh graduated Ann Arbor Pioneer High School.
Yeah, they got out of Ohio. They said, "I'm out of Ohio."
Yeah, he went to high school. He graduated in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, and that would be and Jim said he hopes he's in the NFC. That's what Jim said. He said, I don't want him in the AFC. So if he goes to the Giants, he'd be in the NFC.
Yeah, he would be really good for the Giants.
Browns is a tough get. I don't know who wants that Browns job, dude. That's terrible.
I don't know who would actually be like.
And I get what you were saying. This contradicts what we were just saying, but I get it. It's a head coaching gig. But if you're John Harbaugh and you get to pick, you're not. There's no way you pick.
Who do you even think is? You know who actually I have who I think gets the Browns job.
Who?
And I want to make sure they hired or they. I think it's going to be Jim Schwartz.
The players want him to be the head coach.
That's why, and they announced that they interviewed him. I think he ends up because that's like who wants to have that job.
You'd have to take a chance on it. I don't know. I don't know. That's
they interviewed Tommy Reese too. Like they're just interviewing the guys in house. Those are the two guys that they tweeted out that they interviewed was like Tommy Reese and then Jim Schwartz. It's like no one else wants to be there. It's like, all right, does anyone in the building want to be the coach?
Dudes who are already there, yeah.
It's like when you're in like doing a group or like you're like in class or something. It's like, hey, does anyone want to volunteer for this? And everyone's like looking around. Yeah. And there's that one guy that's like, I got it.
I guess I will. I guess I'll interview for the job. Yeah, that's brutal, dude. Screw that. Hey, by the way, before I want to show you
Mel.
Oh, you know what? No, that's fine. You know what?
I would love to see it.
We should do. Well, I was gonna say I'll just tell you because we'll get to drop your mailbag questions. We'll get to mailbag.
Yes, all the mailbag questions too because of the Brad stuff today. Probably.
Yeah, I feel like we should do that. But he had an edge. He had Akeem Mesidor, the defensive end out of Miami.
The Miami, yeah, okay. I don't hate that, but
you didn't want a defensive end.
I have a mock draft that I did the other day, and I know we're not allowed to give mock drafts on the show until our first mock draft Monday. But I did one. I couldn't wait. I did one. I sent it to you guys. Did you see it?
No, I did see it.
I had Akeem Mesidor in the second round. I traded back in the first round, and I got an extra second round pick in the third round pick. Which you could, if they do, you're sitting at 17, right? Think about this, Jeff. The Atlanta or whoever it was that we were going to trade up for to get James Pierce, they wanted a first round pick to move up for us to move up 2 picks at the end of the draft. Think about if you're in 17 and you move back to 29, 28, 30, how many assets you can get. You can get maybe another first, maybe a second and a third, maybe 2 seconds. You add that. I'm not going to say the players I got, but I traded back to 29 and got one of the better tackles in this class that dropped. I drafted the safety in the second round, Jeff, and drafted an edge in the second round, 2 second round picks, and then got a third round pick, drafted a guard. That's
go trenches.
You got 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, first 93 picks. 3 of them are in the trenches, man. That's like so ideal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. That's another thing. I mean, we're going to when's the combine? February?
End of February, the very last week of February. Last week.
You have the combine, and then you have it's about 2 months to the date, really, almost to the draft. I just can't wait. I can't wait. I just want to see what the Lions end up doing because it just depends. I mean, if you have a really good blue chip tackle, just great tackle staring at you, it's going to be tough. I don't know. Do you trade back or do you just say we're taking this dude? Like this guy's like should have been top 10 or top 12 and he fell. Like, or do you trade back and maybe you take a guy 28 in a tackle, but then you have another second, or do you just take the best tackle that's like a dude staring right at you? It's a really good player.
Yeah.
That's like what I'm curious. Well, Brad, I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm just saying I'm curious where Brad kind of how he approaches that. You know, because I don't know, man. There might be a dude there where everyone's like, "Oh no," and then it's like the Lions have traded out, and then it's like everyone's like, "No," like this is like really good tackle or something. I don't know. It's just, yeah. We'll see. Draft's going to be interesting.
I'm very interested in this year's draft. This is going to be like a very, very because I don't think it's just the players, but I think it's about how does Brad navigate the draft. I think that's going to be one of the big questions.
Dan, appreciate the 5. The question is, hey guys, it's tough trying to be positive. The line is aging. Safeties are done for. Our defense is ass, and our quarterback can't extend. Okay. All right.
To be fair, it's Dana, right? Not Dana. You said Dana. It's Dana.
Not sure. Dana,
I think it's Dana. It's Dana or Dana. It's Dana.
Okay.
Is Dana even a word?
I do know someone named Dana, spelt that way.
Okay.
You'd be surprised. Yeah, that's why I don't know which. I don't know.
Well, it's the line is aging. I don't think the line's really aging anymore. You're actually young. That's the problem. You're too young. Outside of Taylor Decker, like you're just young. I guess Graham too. Yeah, 2 spots. I mean, there are 3 out of the 5 you're young. 2 out of the 5 you're very old.
Yeah,
very old.
Yeah, 2 out of the 5 are old, but you don't have to replace them.
They're important positions: left tackle and center. Arguably the 2 most important positions on your offensive line. It's a tough spot.
Appreciate the 5 though. And then John member for 14 months. He says no blow job. Okay, for OC.
14 months. By the way, I just became a member of the Docs channel a couple weeks ago.
Hey, shout out to the DOC.
I was commenting and he was like, "Oh, you're not a member?"
Oh, that's funny. Shout out to the Doc. Xavier says, Mailbag, what's your go-to most watched film?
Film like football
movie?
Film or movie?
Movie? Go-to most watched movie?
My most watch is probably Pineapple Express.
Like just a movie you've seen 1,000 times where you're like, just turn it on.
That's one I've probably seen 1 billion times.
Yeah, I'd probably say Wolf of Wall Street. I've probably seen that like 1,000 times. That's probably another one I'd probably just say. I mean, whenever you need a movie, or just like turn on Wolf of Wall Street.
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers, another good one. Yeah, you can watch that one. Fourth and Sky says the Patriots traded out of the first round for decades and became a dynasty. Getting lower in the first and getting higher in the second could get us some real talent in bunches.
Yeah, I think the problem is too, like you unless there's an elite tackle that falls to 17, I think you're able to get I think you can get a starter in the back end of the first half, start of the second. And if you're adding more assets because you don't have a third, so if you can somehow get another pick inside the top 90, I think that's a positive. And if you can get another pick in the top 90, Jeff, and add a tackle that could start for you, it's a win. That's a massive win.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It just depends. I mean, I think you're flexible at pick 17. I think that's you're flexible, which is a good spot to be in.
I'm not very flexible, but you can be flexible at 17.
Yeah, that's a fit. It's a fact. We're not as flexible as Brad Holmes will be with that pick 17.
Whoa, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Benji, shout out Benji says, then they drafted a bunch of bums with that strategy. Brady left and the reality hit. Well, they did, to be fair. The Patriots did miss. Like Bill Belichick, I think as great as he is, he might be one of the worst drafters of all time. Like this, he's
you think so?
Go look at his drafts, bro. Like over the last decade. Like I'm telling you, there's some guys in there you're like, wow. And then there's a Cole Strange in the first round. And everyone was like, who? Cole Strange? And
he is a guy that goes out on a limb. He's the kind of like Brad, except he's like Brad when it comes to William and Mary and British Columbia and all that, except he's doing that in the first and second round.
ETN says who will win the Natty?
I don't know. Like I think Indiana. I think Indiana's the best team.
They have to be. I mean, that's probably.
I took Ole Miss tonight, money line. I think Ole Miss wins. I bet they're down. They just missed a field goal. They're down 17-10, or 17-13, just missed a field goal, making a 1-point game.
Where in the game are they?
Third quarter, just started. First drive, they just went down to go kick a field goal.
It's really Miami's defense is so good. Like that's one of the players we just talked about. But like, who would I trust? I would go Indiana. I'm excited to see Mendoza and Moore.
That's going to be a great matchup. A lot of people are taking Oregon actually, which I guess it is one of those things in college football. It's like you play a team twice. It's hard. You know what I mean? Like they have to beat them a second time. Indiana does. It's tough to do.
It is tough
because the adjustments. You kind of know now what you did wrong. It's tough.
Hey, appreciate you all. By the way, reminder for those who are watching live, and if you're watching after the live, we're going to be at Dog and Pony Show Brewing on Saturday, 8 p.m. Packers Bears. We'll be doing our watch party. If you're at home, tune in, watch the stream. We'll be live streaming the game, reacting to it. So Saturday we'll be there. Tomorrow, show just as usual. So tune in tomorrow. We're going to talk more about everything we didn't get to talk about, or talk more about different things. And we got Caleb joining the show. So it'll be a good show. Until then, we'll catch you all.
Love you guys.
Peace.